Hello, I'm Corey Miller, Director of Community Resilience at the Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana, or CRCL for short. CRCL is the state's oldest nonprofit working to preserve Louisiana's coast, its communities, and wetlands. We help residents understand the importance of the wetlands, how our eroding coast impacts them, and how they can engage in plans for coastal restoration. Often, we will partner with local community organizations to help us reach a larger audience, and this virtual tour is a perfect example. CRCL has partnered with the Lower Ninth Ward Center for Sustainable Engagement and Development, or CSED for short. Together, we offer this virtual tour to highlight some key areas that explain the significant role of the Mississippi River and the wetlands surrounding the Lower Nine, a New Orleans neighborhood located just downriver from the historic French Quarter. This effort is a part of a series that focuses on the importance of engaging communities in restoring urban swamp habitat and how a healthy environment is critical to a healthy, sustainable community. You will hear several local voices speak to their knowledge, experience, and connection to these places. We hope you enjoy and are enlightened.
The Center for Sustainable Engagement and Development is a very unique community-based organization designed to make a difference in the Lower Ninth Ward community and serve other vulnerable communities within Louisiana, along the Gulf Coast, and throughout the United States. Its key factor is to make sure that its constituents are educated, that they understand what's important in making their community more sustainable and producing a better quality of life. It's also important that they understand making these decisions is important as we look to change policy and bring about better civic engagement among community and residents and community leaders. And so CSED works with our community to make this happen in the area of coastal restoration, realizing that coastal restoration is a key element to the betterment and sustainability of the Lower Ninth Ward and to its residents for building a much stronger, vibrant, and effective community in addressing all issues focused around climate change, resilience, and quality of life issues. That entail education, community development, economic development, and recreation for the betterment of our community. We service residents and constituents from children to seniors, business owners, community leaders, and other public officials that service our community for the betterment as well.
The Bayou Bienvenue wetland triangle right here back of town in the historic Lower Ninth Ward was once a vibrant tupelo and old growth cypress swamp used for camping, hunting, boating, bird watching, fishing, and when you were lucky, you could even find some large crabs. The construction of a 76-mile-long canal called the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet, otherwise referred to as Mr. Go, destroyed nearly 30,000 acres of wetland and accelerated saltwater intrusion from the Gulf of Mexico, absolutely depleting our local estuary, destroying cypress and tupelo, and totally altering the ecosystem that so many residents took pride in and joy in. The salinity in Bayou Bienvenue Wetland Triangle, there is still a long road ahead until we are able to restore the bayou to its once vibrant original purpose, but through partnerships and through new ideas and innovation, we're optimistic that the state's coastal restoration master plan can advance our goal to, number one, prioritize equity in the restoration process and engage residents along the way in creating a more healthy community for our children, for our grandparents, for our families that live and love the Lower Ninth Ward. Here at CSED, one of the most exciting partnerships that we're thrilled to be a part of is working with the Crush collaboration and the Crush team and the Crush sponsors, because it allows us to all come together to focus on one goal, and that is to restore and replenish and renew the Bayou Bienvenue Triangle with cypress trees and tupelo trees and days of service. It is a fantastic community outreach and engagement opportunity.
Hello, I'm Charles Allen, Community Engagement Director with the National Audubon Society, and I wish to speak briefly on the impacts of the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet, or MRGO as it's called, on the Lower Ninth Ward. As Hurricane Katrina barreled into southeast Louisiana in 2005, the MRGO provided this superhighway through which hurricane storm surge crashed into St. Bernard Parish, Lower Nine, and New Orleans East. As the surge was funneled into the Industrial Canal along the western side of the Lower Nine, it caused a loose barge to crash into the flood wall, which provides protection to the Lower Nine neighborhood, thus causing a major breach in the flood wall. The power of the surge caused homes and buildings to be swept off their foundations. The surge tossed vehicles and anything and everything in its way to be swept and thrown about in the neighborhood. The surge left the entire Lower Nine neighborhood completely devastated. But one very interesting silver lining came about after all that devastation. There was a great groundswell of voices and advocacy that came up from the residents of Lower Nine and the surrounding area, along with friends in the nonprofit environmental community, that caused the U.S. federal government to deauthorize the MRGO channel and thus provide for the closure of the channel. Since that time, much effort has come about from the federal and state governments to develop plans that provide for the eventual restoration and regeneration of precious wetlands in the channel. Such wetlands will provide a natural line of defense in terms of storm surge protection to the Lower Nine and surrounding communities. As a former resident of Lower Nine, who now currently lives in New Orleans East, such ecosystem restoration in that MRGO area can speak volumes for how life in this part of southeast Louisiana be sustained and truly become more resilient over time.
In order to bolster our natural lines of defense against storm surge, one solution is to create structural restoration projects called diversions. The Carnarvon Diversion is a restoration project located about 15 miles downriver from New Orleans and 80 miles upriver from the Gulf of Mexico. The Carnarvon Diversion was built in 1991 to reconnect the Mississippi River to the area's wetlands. Similar to the former Bayou Bienvenue wetlands, This area was once a vibrant swamp, nourished by its connection to the river and then cut off by construction of the river levee. The environment became increasingly salty when the connection was lost, and seawater from the Gulf came further and further inland. This change in the saltiness, or salinity, of the water and soil killed the cypress trees and the freshwater swamp habitat. Having a healthy swamp is critical to support a variety of species, from ducks to catfish to alligators, and the trees that can grow offer better protection from storms than grasses of saltwater wetlands. So, the Carnarvon Diversion was constructed to allow fresh water from the river back into the area through a set of gates in the levee that are opened and closed to manage salinity. And it's working. Now, the area is once again a vibrant freshwater swamp with new trees growing, nourished by the reconnection to the river. As a bonus, the sand, silt, and clay carried by the waters of the muddy Mississippi are gradually adding new land to the area. As a result, organizations like CRCL and CSED are able to partner to engage volunteers in planting trees in these areas to bolster the restoration of the swamp. We hope that you enjoyed the virtual tour, gaining a better perspective of the Lower Ninth Ward neighborhood and learning about the important role that a healthy river, coast, and wetlands play in ensuring a healthy community. For more information and ways to further engage, please visit crcl.org and sustainthe9.org.